Russell Wilson sparks admiration and confusion among football fans and analysts, with his career having fallen from Super Bowl glory to bench fodder in dramatic fashion, only to be revived now in Pittsburgh. With solid accomplishments on the field and an undeniable impact on communities off it, Wilson's candidacy for the Pro Football Hall of Fame has always been a hot topic of discussion. In today's video, we delve into the arguments for and against his induction to determine whether or not Russell Wilson deserves a place among the game's greatest in Canton. Wilson's statistical achievements place him among the elite quarterbacks of his era. Since entering the league in 2012, Wilson has consistently ranked among the top quarterbacks in passing yards, touchdowns, completion percentage, and passer rating. When at his best, his ability to produce both through the air and on the ground added a dynamic element to his game that few can match. In 2012, the Seahawks were a team without an identity. Coach Pete Carroll had just completed his second season, and the team had moved on from longtime quarterback Matt Hasselbeck to Tavares Jackson. Having just finished third in the division and missed the playoffs, it was time to do something a bit more drastic. Wilson arrived in the draft and was given an immediate shot at the starting role. In his rookie season, Wilson threw 3,118 yards, 26 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions. He had a passer rating of 100, was a Pro Bowler, and led the Seahawks to an 11-5 record for a second-place finish in the competitive NFC West. He also rushed for 489 yards with 5.2 yards per carry, evoking thoughts of a right-handed, burly version of Michael Vick. In his sophomore campaign, Wilson was equally effective and efficient, throwing for 3,357 yards, 26 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions, with a quarterback rating of 101.2. The Seahawks finished 13-3, won the NFC West, and advanced to the Super Bowl, where they would face the heavily favored NFL MVP Peyton Manning and his Denver Broncos. Manning, en route to throwing a then-record 55 touchdowns, was leading the league's #1 offense, which had just defeated Tom Brady and the New England Patriots 26-16 in the AFC Conference Championship. They had all the momentum, with little hope being given to the inexperienced second-year Wilson. Not deterred by the bright lights of Super Bowl action, Wilson was electric, completing 18 of 25 passes for 206 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Seahawks defense came up big with Cam Chancellor and Malcolm Smith each having interceptions, the latter being a pick six. Manning looked like a shell of himself, unable to gain any momentum against Seattle's vaunted Legion of Boom defense. The game was so out of hand that Seahawks backup quarterback Tavares Jackson even took a snap. By nearly the end of the third quarter, Seattle were up 36-0 and would go on to win convincingly 43-8, holding the league's best offense to only one score. In 2 NFL seasons, Russell Wilson had thrown over 50 touchdowns and won a Super Bowl, defeating one of the greatest NFL quarterbacks of all time. The dynamic playmaker took a pedestrian Seattle Seahawks franchise and turned them into perennial winners, ushered in the Legion of Boom, and became a hero in the eyes of the Seahawks' 12th man. Not a bad way to kickstart your career, and the fun didn't stop there. The 2014 season was almost deja vu. Wilson once again posted healthy passing numbers with 3,475 yards, 20 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions, but it was his rushing ability that really took off this time around. A career-high 849 yards came on 118 carries, with another career-high being set with 6 rushing touchdowns. His dual-threat danger was at its peak in 2014, earning Wilson his 3rd consecutive Pro Bowl selection and taking the Seahawks right back to the Super Bowl. This time, it was Tom Brady waiting for him in the big game. We all know the tale of the tape for Super Bowl 49. Undrafted rookie Malcolm Butler became a legend in New England lore for his goal line interception of Wilson, securing the Patriots a 28-24 victory, giving Brady his 4th Super Bowl ring, and solidifying his status in the GOAT conversation. The Seahawks were at the 1-yard line, with one of the league's best bruising backs in the backfield. Why couldn't Wilson hand the ball off to Marshawn Lynch and surely raise his arms in celebration? Why not run a quarterback sneak or jump over the defensive line for the score? Why not direct snap to all-pro safety Richard Sherman and let him walk in for the touchdown? Call Ricky Watters out of retirement and give him the ball for a ceremonious run to the end zone. Give the ball to the trainer for all I care. Just run the damn ball. But no, they decide to throw the ball at the 1-yard line. Looking back, there are many things wrong with the play. Butler is watching Wilson's motion the entire time, and it is as if Wilson telegraphed the pass because he didn't make a pump fake or look in the other direction. Before the ball is even snapped, Wilson's body and eyes are shifted in the direction of wide receiver Ricardo Lockett. He's also in shotgun, hinting to the defense that he will be passing the ball. At no point does Wilson look left. The only play is to throw to Lockett. Along with telegraphing the play, another question is why did Wilson pass the ball to Ricardo Lockett, a third-year pro who had 15 targets and only 11 receptions during the season? The Seahawks have Doug Baldwin, Jermaine Kearse, and even Marshawn Lynch running the flank on the left. If you must throw the ball, wouldn't you throw it to someone more reliable? Calling the number of a guy who has not really proven he belongs in the NFL, let alone asking him to make the biggest play of his life on the goal line in the waning minute of the Super Bowl is downright irresponsible. Of course, Malcolm Butler anticipates the throw, makes a great read, and intercepts the pass. Game over, Patriots win. But what if Russell Wilson handed the ball off and Marshawn Lynch bulldozed his way into the end zone? Brady is unable to pull off a miracle comeback and the Seahawks win. If that were the case, Wilson would have 2 Super Bowl wins in 3 NFL seasons. That sounds like Hall of Fame potential to me. The truth is, Wilson did not hand the ball off and the Seahawks lost, opening up critics of Russell Wilson's Hall of Fame candidacy to start making a case against him. They point to his reliance on a strong supporting cast, particularly the dominant Seattle Seahawks defense during the early years of his career. In 2014, Richard Sherman was locking down wide receivers, and Cam Chancellor and Earl Thomas were dominating as the most versatile and hard-hitting safety tandem the NFL has ever seen. The Legion of Boom, as they were known, swarmed over opposing pass attacks and rarely came out second best. But it wasn't just those in the back end that you had to worry about, with Michael Bennett and Bruce Irvin dominating along the defensive line with 7 and 6.5 sacks respectively. When combining this all together, the Seahawks had the overall #1 ranked team defense, the #1 passing defense, and the #3 rushing defense. They gave up a league-low 254 total points, which averages out at 15.8 points per game. They also conceded the fewest yards against, with 4,274, and passing touchdowns with 17, whilst also boasting the lowest penalties committed. It was a team that deserved success, and the conclusion of that 2014 season was brutal. They were seemingly on the doorstep of a great dynasty, only for it to be ripped away at a moment's notice. However, the damage of that play would evolve into a much more harmful issue. The defensive veterans on the team believed that the failed pass play had ruined their reputation as the greatest defense ever, and they were angry at Carroll for never apologizing for the play call. They also didn't like that Wilson was seemingly being shielded from criticism, which greatly impacted the morale in the locker room. You could argue that Wilson's interception single-handedly started the downfall of one of the best teams of the 2010s. From then on, it was simply a case of what if. There was no return to glory, and Wilson's Hall of Fame candidacy was hanging in the balance. In the years that followed, he was a consistent quarterback, and you could count on him delivering 30-plus touchdowns during the season while keeping the interceptions and turnovers low. However, in pressure situations, Wilson was not able to close, losing tight playoff games against the Cowboys in 2018 and the Packers in 2019. Despite his team's success, Wilson has relatively few individual accolades compared to other Hall of Fame quarterbacks. He has never won an MVP award, nor has he ranked in the top 10 of its voting. However, his first 9 NFL seasons cannot be viewed as anything other than a success, with Wilson compiling a 98-45-1 record with 267 touchdowns and a QB rating of 101.7. The Seahawks made the playoffs in 8 seasons, producing 2 Super Bowl appearances and 1 Super Bowl win. However, his final season left a lot to be desired, and his move to Denver in 2022 has since become labeled as arguably the worst trade in NFL history. After signing a monster $245 million contract to become a Bronco, in which Denver had to send away multiple players and valuable draft picks, Wilson went an atrocious 17-27 while throwing 25 interceptions and never making the playoffs. In the 2022 season, Wilson led the NFL in sacks with 55 and had a sack percentage of 10.2%. It was clear to see that head coach Sean Payton had little time for his starting quarterback, evidenced by the team releasing him after the 2023 season and taking on over $80 million of dead cap as a result. That's how bad they wanted him gone. Can you really be a Hall of Fame candidate with that on your resume? Now at the age of 35, Wilson had one more shot at salvaging his Hall of Fame candidacy. He signed with the Pittsburgh Steelers for one season in 2024 on the veterans minimum, which was a move that inspired very little excitement. It looked like his career in Pittsburgh was over before it had really even begun, when an injury allowed Justin Fields the opportunity to start the season opener, something which many analysts believed would lead to Fields replacing Wilson permanently. Nevertheless, despite boasting a winning record, Mike Tomlin decided to turn the team over to Wilson once he was healthy, and the results only improved. Wilson unlocked the passing offense, and the team enjoyed wins across his first 4 starts, including against their bitter rivals, the Baltimore Ravens. As things stand after 13 weeks, the Steelers are sitting pretty atop the AFC North with a 9-3 record, which means Russell Wilson is very likely going to get the opportunity to lead a good team through the playoffs. With so many ifs and buts hanging over his career, a Super Bowl win in Pittsburgh would leave little doubt that Wilson deserves to be in Canton. So there is a lot on the line. Of course, until that does or does not happen, his Hall of Fame candidacy remains up in the air. On one hand, Wilson's statistical achievements, durability, and consistency make a compelling argument for his inclusion among the game's all-time greats. He took a perennially mediocre franchise and turned them into an NFL powerhouse. Overall, Wilson has 39 game-winning drives, which ranks 10th all-time, more than Aaron Rodgers and Joe Montana. On the other hand, questions around his reliance on a supporting cast and lack of individual awards raise valid concerns around his candidacy. It is now clear that he was undeserving of the massive contract in Denver, emphasized by the fact that he got benched and was released at the end of the 2023 season. That is an almighty blemish to have to look past when considering someone's inclusion in the prestigious Hall of Fame. Ultimately, it may take something pretty special over the next few years for Russell Wilson to be inducted. Had he handed off the ball to Lynch in Super Bowl 49, perhaps he'd be considered a slam dunk, with several other wins following soon after as a result. Unfortunately though, we don't live in that hypothetical world. We live in the world where Seattle never got back to the big game, and the one where Wilson's career is now arguably known more for his starring role in the worst trade in NFL history. Yes, the debate will rage on, and a good stint in Pittsburgh could turn it around for Wilson, but right now, he misses out for us. What do you think? Let us know in the comments.